Jesse, I thought you were a UFC YouTuber. I am. And let me tell it to you right now. Kamaru Usman says you could stand and knock everybody out. Guys who aren't moving, guys who aren't shooting on you, guys who aren't testing your grappling. Interesting take. So when Israel Adesanya went from 185 to 205 to fight Jan Blachowicz, how did that go? He got beat because Jan Blachowicz shot on him, took him down, and then grounded him out on the ground. Israel Adesanya, who you may remember knocked out Alex Pereira in his last fight at 185. Alex Pereira went up to 205. Who's the very first person that they gave him? You know, let's see what he's got, right? They gave him the guy who grappled Israel Adesanya. And what happened? He beat him. So this is not an accurate statement from Kamaru Usman. I understand why he would forget watching him knock everybody out. But in his very first fight at 205, he got his grappling tested and he won. So I'm going to make up for the last couple days not having any MMA stuff up with a bomb video right now because Sean Strickland went ham on Khamzat Chimaev. We're going to definitely cover that story. We're also going to look at this little number right here where Logan Paul had some interesting choice words for Bradley Martin. And I'm going to tell you my opinion on this because he straight up says, he's like, I'll kill him with my bare hands. And then I'm going to go through one of the single greatest story post in terms of like what's going on in MMA right now, because MMA Uncensored hit every single good story that's going on right now. And I'm going to comment on all of them. So we call that making up for lost time, son. But do not miss the Logan Paul one, and definitely don't miss the Sean Strickland one, because that is absolutely bananas. We're going to cover those last. However, we're going to start right here. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you could. It's very helpful to the channel. My channel is such an anomaly right now, dude. I'm going to actually take a second and just talk about this for 1 second. This is literally the most bizarre moment of my content creation career. If you guys didn't know, like, you know, the new content that I do, where I talk about like the Hurricane and Bill Gates and any of this, you know, this guy over here, like I had an entire other channel that did that, right? And then I got banged for talking about the new, and I had to get rid of the entire channel. Then all of a sudden I become the biggest content creator on the platform for like 2 weeks during July, talking about the, you know, when they took a shot at the guy. And now I feel like every day I have an anxiety attack about like, I'm like, what should I post? I have two completely different audiences and I don't know what to do. So I'm basically just treating this as if I have two channels in one, where I have like I post the MMA stuff, MMA people watch that. I post the other stuff, other people watch that. However, I am having this thing where like people who subscribe for that, they say I post MMA and then they unsubscribe, and then people see that I post about this and they unsubscribe. It's just a really weird situation. I don't really know what the right way to handle it is, other than just to tell you guys what's going on and let you guys know that I love you guys either way, and I'm just putting up content that I think people will like, and there's nothing personal to either side. All right, so here is where we're going to start. All right, we're going to talk about Masvidal and Tyron Woodley, because they both want back in the UFC. Now, Dana, straight up, is like, I'm not bringing him back. He said that last night at the press conference. And I'm like, wait, really? You're not? You're not going to bring these guys back? Tyron Woodley and George Masvidal? I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all, and I'll tell you exactly why. Okay? It's a perfect matchup for each other. Perfect. Both of these guys are coming off 4 losses. Both of these guys are stars, or were stars in the UFC. Like, you have tons of guys that are in the UFC that you know are not going to have some kind of like huge run in the UFC. They come in, they may or may not win a fight or two, and they may or may not just wash right out. Okay? You're not going to get any value from these guys. Now, I realize you're going to have to pay these two guys more, but in case anyone hasn't noticed, dude, UFC's been pretty boring right now. Am I wrong about that? Like, I'm serious. And I asked 4 of my friends about this exact topic before I did this video, well, last night and today. As soon as Dana said he wasn't going to bring back Tyron and Masvidal, I hit up a few of my buddies, and I'm like, what do you guys think about this? And I didn't lead them. I didn't say anything. They were all like, dude, they should just bring him back. And I'm like, I know, it's boring, right? Like, UFC is boring right now. I, of course, will acknowledge it's because Conor out of the mix, dude. Conor not even being in the conversation sucks. And they blew their load on UFC 300 and, you know, whatever. Like, there was a lot of like big stars that fought. But even if you take that into account, like, there's not that much excitement going on, dude. You know, you have Guru and Nina Drama get into some beef on X, and that's the most exciting thing that happened in the last few days. You know what I mean? Speaking of exciting, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, YoKratom. That's YoKratom, $60 kilograms if you're a daily user of Kratom. There is no better place to get it. If you use every day, YoKratom.com. It'll get to you in 2 days, just like Amazon. Check them out. Like, don't get me wrong, that was really fun and funny, and I would have done a better job covering it had I not been in the situation I was in over the week. I was going to do a whole thing Then I looked up Amy Kaplan, and God, I'll actually address that right now, since I did say to you guys that I was going to talk about the Amy Kaplan thing. So when I actually went to go do research on Amy Kaplan after watching, I saw Red Pill's thing, and I saw that she's like a hardcore, on the other side. And I'm like, what are you doing in MMA then? So I found an interaction that she had with someone on X, okay? And it was straight up she said something like I can't remember exactly how it was, but someone was like, why are you saying Strickland isn't allowed to say this or something like that, right? And her response was, I'm not saying he's not allowed to say it just because I don't agree with him. I'm not saying anything should happen to him. I'm just saying fighters say whatever they want in the UFC. It would be pretty hypocritical of me to have a problem with him saying this when blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, shit. All right. Well, I was wrong about her. She's like, she has a bunch of stuff that I completely disagree with. Her opinion on the jab is a death nail as far as I'm concerned for most people. However, she redeemed herself with that post where I was like, okay, so she is at least a self-aware person that I just disagree with. Like on a fundamental side, she can note that okay, yeah, I can have a problem with that, but I'm not in a position to complain about it because of XYZ. And I was like, okay, I can't light her up, dude. I can't do it. As much as I would love to. I'll light her up on her opinion of the jab, but that's for another time. Anyway, so bottom line is there's not very much going on, dude. Okay? So I think in absolutely uncertain terms, Dana should for sure sign both Masvidal and Tyron Woodley, have them fight each other and see if one of them has a good win. You could get them back in the mix. You know what I mean? Masvidal's a big enough star. You don't need him fighting the top guys. Okay? You really don't need him fighting the top guys. You can make stars with Masvidal. I know they're trying to do this thing where, if you leave the UFC, you can never come back. But, dude, don't do it at the expense of the fans' entertainment. I know lots of... Screw Masvidal. That is how it goes when someone is a big, loud voice, and then, they lose a couple fights. I get it. That's fan standard 101. People will go, oh, God, once they want to come back, they're like, nah, dude, forget about him. But rest assured, if you care enough to post screw that guy, you'll watch him fight and root for him to lose. Okay, the people that don't have value are the ones you don't care about. Bottom line, right? And this one, I want literally this story, I'm going to comment on literally every single one of these posts. I was like, I have something to say about all of these. And obviously, I completely agree with Moicano here. That was a robbery. And on this one, Mac Malley, whoever that is, says, I don't care what anybody says. Just how good is Israel Adesanya? Pereira's literal boogeyman, and Izzy is the only one to send him to the Shadow Realm. I am literally, you want to see where I was here? So, hang on. Whoops. If Izzy is right there, I am now pointing to where I was. And I'm talking, this is at scale. The end of my finger, here is where I was, and that happened. I was a direct facing line to Alex Pereira unconscious with his feet up. So I will always be wildly excited to have been at that fight. Obviously, that was the first one when Donald Trump came in too. People went absolutely bananas. Okay, this one, nothing. This one, yes, please give me this fight, because at the end of the day, dude, Pereira, he still has not fought a guy who has good enough striking to be able to hang with him for even a mediocre amount of time, who has really vicious wrestling. And I'm not saying that person's going to beat him, but if he beats Ankalaev, okay, you are looking at a GOAT, dude. He's probably already in that conversation, but I mean, but give me Jon Jones and give me Aspinall. Props to Roundtree also. Good God, he had to get his nose reset. Awful. And then you get into this conversation, dude. Okay, I'm actually probably going to put at the very beginning of the video to make sure that no one misses this, and I'll probably put it on the thumbnail also, because this is the conversation I really want to have about Jon Jones and what he is saying and whether or not we think that he's going to fight either Pereira. Actually, whether or not he's going to retire after this fight. There's no way. I'm telling you that right now. There's no way that he retires. And I'll tell you exactly why he's saying that he's going to. Okay, so here's why he's saying that he's doing this, all right? This is really straightforward. The only leverage that UFC fighters have in a negotiation is, I'm not going to fight then. He's locked into a contract. If he gets the UFC to believe that he really will not fight for more money, then he has leverage to ask for more money to do either Tom Aspinall or, you-know-who, Poatan, right? Because Pereira, that's a really dangerous fight for obvious reasons. And Tom Aspinall, very dangerous fight. And Jon Jones is the big... If he knocks out Stipe, do you have any idea how big of a fight it'll be for one of those two guys? If he convinces the UFC that he is willing to retire or that he's planning on retiring, they're going to have to pay him. That is why he's doing it. If you believe he is going to walk into the sunset as the GOAT, without leaving two really serious challengers on the table, you're out of your fucking mind. He's going to fight. He is going to fight. He's just going to have to get paid. It's as simple as that. They're going to have to pay him to take one of those two fights. He knocks out Stipe, the UFC is going to pay him because they can't let Jon Jones walk into the sunset without fighting either Tom Aspinall or Alex Pereira. But they won't have to pay if he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to go get him. Okay, he is exercising the leverage position that he has by saying that he's not going to fight. Now on this one, I'm going to show you guys something. I get this feeling that people think because I don't post UFC stuff all the time that I'm some kind of casual who can't make good points relating to UFC events, MMA, so on, so forth, etc. And so with this one right here, I am going to demonstrate that I'm still number one in the game in every single category because watch this, dude. Watch this. Ready? So Kamaru Usman says about Alex Pereira, you could stand and knock everybody out, guys who aren't moving, guys who aren't shooting on you, guys who aren't testing your grappling. Kamaru Usman about Alex Pereira. That's an interesting take. And at first glance, it's like, man, that's kind of true. That is a really good point that he made. I can't really argue with it. Oh, wait a minute. I think Jesse on Fire maybe could potentially have a pretty strong rebuttal to that because I'm remembering when someone else went up to 205 to fight for the belt. I think his name's Israel Adesanya. He knocked out Alex Pereira in Alex Pereira's final fight at 185. And who did he fight again? He fought Jan Blachowicz. And how did he lose? Oh, right. Jan Blachowicz shot on him and just ground him out on the ground every single round, right? How did Jan Blachowicz do against Alex Pereira? He lost. Alex Pereira beat Jan Blachowicz, where Israel Adesanya, who supposedly is the same archetype of fighter, he got beat handily by Jan because he was getting shot on. Didn't work against Alex. So I'm just saying, dude, Kamaru Usman, fight IQ, Jesse, you know what I mean? I'm just kidding. Kamaru Usman, you know more than me, but not in this case because you forgot about Jan and you forgot about all of that. I told you that this story was like full of great stories that I could do, right? What's the next one? How does this play out? Oh, what do you guys think, dude? I think Alex Pereira does pretty well in this fight. Pretty sure he probably does pretty well. I don't think he's going to necessarily need kicks to knock out Jake Paul. But what do I know? Everybody keeps telling me Jake Paul's going to knock out Mike Tyson. There's that. So Drickus is going to fight Strickland. We're going to talk more about him next, and that's going to be very exciting. This one, okay, Aspinall versus Poatan. I'm telling you, every single one of these, I was like, I'm excited to talk about these. None of these are an entire video on their own. But Aspinall is bigger. Aspinall has the strength. Aspinall has the wrestling. Aspinall has the punching power. Aspinall is a champ in the weight class. That being said, Poatan versus KO round 1. Okay. If Poatan goes up to heavyweight and knocks out Tom Aspinall in the first round, I don't want to hear about anyone else ever in the pound for pound conversation for the rest of all of eternity. Okay. Straight up. Because Tom Aspinall should win this fight. And I am not necessarily opposed to this being the outcome because Tom Aspinall's he's not faster than Roundtree. However, he is very fast. He is very huge, and he has a genuine, real grappling threat. I could not pick Poatan in this fight. Not just on a straight up unemotional, whatever. I really like Tom Aspinall too, But anyway, we'll see. Hopefully we get that fight. This is another one, so Tom Aspinall's only 31 years old. God, man. Can we just do a round robin tournament with these guys? Seriously, can we just do that? Do round robin tournament with these guys? That would be like, I can't even imagine, dude. Like an old school UFC where all these guys fight each other on the same night. Okay, so now we're getting into the meat and bones of this actual video here. Okay, so Sean Strickland. This is just the beginning. All right. So Sean Strickland said the following. I love how the world just overlooks this guy's past. Oh, come on, dude. Come on. I love how the world just overlooks this guy's past. Builds a life in Sweden. Okay. Builds a thing. Like it wants to keep going. Sorry, I have to keep pausing it. Builds a life in Sweden, goes and becomes best friends with an absolute monster who pretty much bought him like a W. Then when the leash got too tight, he fled to the Middle East. You should not be allowed in this country. You sold your soul to a terrorist dictator. You are not compatible with America. Thank God we don't do drone strikes on that part of the sand. Sick of UFC forgetting it's an American company. LMAO, now buy a crypto scam with my name on it. Okay, so here is something that I'm not sure if people realize this, okay? Like, I'm not sure if everybody realizes this. Khamzat Chimaev, okay? Khamzat Chimaev is not just like, oh, you know, Khamzat Chimaev, like, I really like him buying me stuff, yada, yada. He's married to his daughter. Khamzat Chimaev is married to Ramzan Kadyrov's daughter. That's why he's not allowed in the United States. You guys not aware of that? I guess like I found that out and I thought it was like the ultimate scoop. I thought I had like the scoop of the century. And I ran it by Chael, ran it by some other guys, and Chael's like, no, he's like, doesn't everybody know that? I was like, apparently not, dude. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. But apparently, like, among like the inner circle, like, everybody knows this. And, you know, I was like, can I talk about it on the channel? He's like, dude, everybody knows. So I'm blaming Chael if I was wrong, right? Actually, no, I'm not. Because Chael's not the one who told me, for the record. It was, you know, I got another insider who told me, who also said it was okay to talk about, but I was like, are you fucking sure, dude? So, you know, but he's married to Kadyrov. Oh, shit, I have that shirt, dude. I gave it to Giselle. But anyway, so when Strickland is saying that he, you know, that he sold himself to, like, a dictator, it depends on how you look at it. Now, I will tell you another thing about that particular situation. So you remember the Smash Bros, Khamzat and Darren Till? So I was thinking about this just now, and I was like, man, when did they stop hanging out? You know, because they were like together all the time. You know, they're such a bizarre couple together, but they were hanging out all the time. And I remember, I'm like, because they were together at UFC 273 in Jacksonville, because I was there, front row. And then I told everybody, when we were flying out of Jacksonville, we were at the same gate as Khamzat and his whole crew. And he had a girl with him, okay? And this girl was clearly like with him. They were like together. And then we found out that girl, he married her like the next week. It was like he got married to this girl like the week after UFC 273, okay? So think about this for a second. 273, the last time he fought in the UFC, he marries the girl that we saw him with for hours. We were at our flight got canceled. They missed their flight. So we were at the same gate for a really long time. And yeah, he married that girl. And he's never fought in the UFC again. He has no problem fighting in Jacksonville. And then he can't come in after that. That seems like causality to me. You know what I mean? Sounds like causality to me. Let's go back and wrap this thing up. Is there anything else in here that I needed to talk about?